Alright. This should be working. Doop deep doop dee doop doo. So let me know if you can hear me. Oh, cool. Alright, hi everyone. I see Rich is here, Tsukaboo, Jacqueline, Polar Bear, Stacy, Otto, hi Otto, Linux Switch, Cyan, hi Cyan, hi Denise, hey, hi Lena, saw that Paulu was there too, hi Rhiannon. Alright, sorry I'm a few minutes late. Je m'excuse d'avoir bumpé ta main. Ça les a-tu tout pété?
Non, je pense qu'ils sont corrects.
Ok. Ah. Ah. Hold on guys, be right back.
Ouais, c'est tombé un peu en dessous de ta vieille tour d'ordi et trucs, je te dirais.
Bon, je vais rechercher le morceau.
Je peux t'aider à chercher si t'as besoin.
Non, on fait des trucs.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh! Hey! C'est quoi venir t'aider? Merci, bonjour.
Ah, c'est bon.
Hi guys, it's me Peko. I am a cute little annoying kitty. What's all this stuff? I wanna paint too. I can paint with my fur.
Allez, Pépette.
Non, oui, non, pas sûr. Alright, terribly sorry about that. Okay. So, before I get started with the painting, I have a bunch of postcards! Whee! Right, so let me set this in some kind of order. Oh, this one is cute actually. This one doesn't count. It's pretty cute. I'm gonna include it because cute postcards are great as well, but yeah. Alright, so just to quickly recap, you guys saw this one last time I showed them, so that was one that Lana sent me. I wasn't sure, but so yeah, you said this one. I forgot to show the one my mom sent me. My mom went to Maine for a bit. So yeah, my mom sent me this one from Maine, which I thought was a really good effort in the wet direction. I mean, the picture itself is fine, but it's everything else they've added that's a bit too much. Okay, the next one is cute. Actually, it's definitely not the same. It was sent from Mary. I don't know if she's here, Mary Bird, but yeah, she sent me this super cute one. Like, this one is a cute one. It's not, it doesn't count with the rest of the collection. She also sent me this one, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's really cool, right? Oh. So yeah, that one cracked me up. It's a funny one. Okay, then I have one from Ellen Kelly, a fellow Canadian, who sent me this one. I will read the message on the back because it's kind of funny, but it says, "Amazing that a town as pretty as this as an ugly postcard. It's the inside of a theater, but it's just like, you know, in like full stark lighting with no mood and really nothing going on much. It's kind of a weird thing to put on a postcard." It's just so funny. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you could have at least done some kind of special lighting, perhaps, to showcase the fact that it's a theater or something, and not like a classroom or I don't know. But yeah, so I got that one too. And the last one I have for now was sent to me by Otto. It belongs in my collection for sure. It is so bad. It's so bad. So yep. The First Scotsman. Okay, so as usual I will plug it here, but if you want to send an ugly postcard in, or a nice one, or any kind of postcard you want to send in, you can look down in the description box. Boop boop. I've put the address of my PO box there, so if you want to send in a card, that's where you send it. And every card that I receive I will showcase in a live stream, because I want to share these with you, because I think it's awesome and it cracks me up. So thank you everyone who sent the card. I really appreciate it, and I'm super psyched to be able to grow my card collection from all over the world, truly. So that's pretty awesome. So thanks guys. I will put these away. Yeah, the baboon with the plate butt. So that's another level of. I wonder if they have like a if they have a range, like one that says the first Canadian, and it's the same image, but the baboon has like the Canadian flag on its butt, or because I'm like, why a baboon? Why is that the First Scotsman? What am I missing here? Those make the best postcards though, seriously. They are always hilarious. It should have been a unicorn. So hi Dan, I see that Victoria is here. Hi Victoria. Hi everyone, hi Lissy. Hi Paulo. Oh, thanks for putting the PO box in the chat, Otto, that's really awesome. So yeah, I got the PO box mostly to, I guess, receive postcards in a way. So by all means, feel free to send any kind of postcard you want, even if it's a pretty one. Okay, so that's the postcard. The other thing, the national animal for Scotland is a unicorn. Really? Can it be A6? Hold on, I'm trying to remember what's the size of my PO box. It's the smallest PO box, so it's not very big. It's a weird shape, like it's about this big, the opening, but it's like super deep. So I am not sure why exactly they made it that way, but it's not big. A6? A6 is small, right? Yeah, sure, A6 is a good size. Hi Grace and Malvina. It is the unicorn. That is so awesome. Because, like, especially after you sent me the sketch about the thistle. Hello, the drawer bro. Yeah, I want to know why the unicorn. It's the unicorn because it's the only animal that can kill a lion. Lion being the national animal of England. Because Scotland is still bitter. But I was, it's probably not a surprise for anyone, really, but I was mentioning the fact that, well, I was talking with Mr. E, and we were talking about the fact that Scotland has had a special guest lately, that is Donald Trump, and there was like this balloon in the shape of Trump as a baby, and there was like a bunch of tweets with people reacting to something Trump said and insulting him, but in a very colorful and typically Scottish way, and I thought that was hilarious. And we were discussing about that with Mr. E because Quebec, where I live, the province in which I live, is in a really similar situation to Scotland in a way, and I thought it was funny that even the swearing language is somewhat similar in its concept. Like, it's super inventive and colorful and original in Scotland, and it's the same thing here, so I thought that was funny. I keep forgetting to ask, Malvina is saying, so what will happen if the package would be bigger than the PO box? I keep forgetting to ask at the post office. If they are nice about it, they will do, like, you know, when you're not home to get a package, there will be a notice in my PO box, and the package will be in the storage room of the post office, hopefully. But I really mean to ask them about it, but every time I go, they are either super busy with clients or I forget. So, yeah. I will ask about it, and I will update everyone on this, of course. The crown met the clown. Good one. Yeah, it is, but if it's bubble mailer or flexible, they bend it. Huh. Okay, so Denise is saying that in the US, they hold the packages separate, but if it's bubble mailer or flexible, they bend it. Well, the people, the nice ladies at the post office, because it's all ladies working there at the moment, they all know me by now. So, I mean, they're nice, so I forgot to grab something to drink. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry. do they bend it even if there is "do not bend" written on top? I've had postmen really not care about that kind of stuff. Like I've had flat mailers, you know, the super heavy cardboard envelopes, like forcibly folded in half to fit into my mailbox. So be aware that that can happen. All right, so I'll move on with the main topic of the video. I've been playing with the idea for a while to make a watercolor paper block so that I can fit it into one of my traveler's notebook. What's the word I'm looking for? Covers? Yeah. I will show one I have. So, for those who are not familiar with the brand, Traveler's Notebooks are basically these leather bound, well not bound, but these leather covers. They come in two sizes. You have the passport size, which is this one, and this is the regular size. And basically the idea is that these come with, you can see here the back side of the sort of binding, but they come with an elastic binding, and you can put whatever notebook you design in there or whatever insert. So you can fully customize your notebook. Some people, they customize them to be like a wallet. So they will have sort of a leather wallet insert, and you can put your cards in there. And this is is it oh, I can't remember, I'm sorry, but it's a kind of a hardboard like plastic that you can put under your sheet. Is it shitajiki? Anyway, and you can write on it. So the one I have right now is a calendar insert, and I got just this like small insert with pockets and a zipper. So I basically use this one for weekly planning, smaller one, and yeah, you can fully customize. Like you can add your own charms on the elastic band. Some people customize the bookmark that comes with them, and they come in different leather cover. So this is the small one, and this is the standard size. I will catch up with chat, hold on. Yeah, Denise is saying that she's been getting someone else's mail, even if there's a note not to do that. And yeah, I've specifically said that I told them like I don't want any spam in there, and they still leave me all the spam. They really don't care about the notifications. The do not bend labels, they don't really care. I guess that if they can go without bending a package, fine, but yeah, the worst, the absolute worst I've gotten were from DHL from Amazon Japan. So you order from Amazon Japan in Canada, and it's shipped through DHL from the start, and it takes a few days. So I'm guessing that DHL takes full command of the whole process. Like they get the package, they put it on their truck, put it on the plane gets here, they unload the plane, get on the truck and deliver, and the boxes are always mangled. Like it's baffling that they still hold together, and I'm like, what have they done with this box? I will order stuff from Japan, not through Amazon, just through sellers, and it gets here pristine, but the DHL boxes, they're always all messed up. Alright, so I will continue explaining about the this one. Sorry, a bit distracted by the chat. So this one is the regular size. It's really narrow, and it sort of took me a long while to get used to it, but I finally found a way that I'm able to use it at the moment. So this is basically what the pages look like for now. So I can keep track of what I did, and I can put a bunch of stickers with this, which is really therapeutic. So I have a craft notebook. You can see I have an insert in this one, and stickers, and you can get like this one is not written in, but it's like diary type of insert, and you can get like sketchbook insert, you can get lined insert for notes, you can get dot, plain, like there's all kinds. You can really customize this thing. And what I love of this is that since it's a leather cover that you reuse every time, it develops this super nice patina. Anyway, it keeps better than like plastic or paper covers, so you can basically reuse this forever, which is what I like of this, and it will only look prettier the more you use it. So long story short, I wanted to see if I could make a pad, like a block, that I could possibly put into one of these and carry that around so that I can paint with it, and I could fit the elastic in here and have this super narrow format for drawing. So oh, hi Dryad. Oh, I see that Genevieve is here too. Hi. Okay. Oh, bye Denise. Rest well. Question, where can you get them? The covers? The notebooks? There are many places that will sell them, like the fancier perhaps fancier stationery shops. I've bought a few of mine on Etsy through Japanese sellers. It's a bit difficult on Etsy because you have a lot of faux covers. Like, people will craft their own covers. It's not super hard to replicate the item itself, but I was really obstinate about getting the genuine stuff. So yeah, there's a few sellers that sell them. They are quite pricey, but it's offset a bit by the fact that you can keep it forever and it's relatively easy to maintain. Like, perhaps the elastic will wear out, but you can easily replace it, and you can buy and you can make your own inserts, which is what I tried to do. This one, okay, just quickly, this is the first one I made, and I was really unfocused when I made it. It was in the time that Peko was sick, so I was really like, my head was not in it at all, and it's so clearly the wrong dimensions that I don't know what happened. But I put it all together, and I tried the first way of binding it with rubber cement. By the way, rubber cement doesn't work, and then I sort of finished putting it together, the first version of it, and I was like, this is not right. And then I compared the size, and it's definitely not right. So I was like, oh well, okay, it's gonna be a smaller block, but okay, fine. So I've made this one. This one is more to the measurements of the actual notebook. But since it's so thick, it's about 17's sheet of 140-pound paper with cardboard backing, and it's a bit too thick, so I think I would perhaps make it 1 centimeter shorter, like even more narrow, so it would fit in the cover, but that would work fine. Okay, so yeah, just gonna check them on the chat. Doop-de-doo. Yeah, packaging horror stories. Oh, hi Palm. Linux Witch is saying there's some really low quality bonded leather stuff out there. Usually get what you pay for. That's absolutely true. Especially if you go to places like AliExpress, you're gonna get some super cheap, super thin fake leather kind of covers that are not super awesome. What is great of the Traveler's Notebook covers is that they are thick leather and super good quality. Yeah, bonded leather, ground up and press. Ew. Do you slide in pages and take them out after? Do you mean in the blocks or in the covers? Question, do I understand that right? You made yourself a watercolor pad. What did you use for glue? That's what I want to get into right now. So I decided that I would make these with Buckingford watercolor paper that is cellulose, so not ideal, but it is colored paper. and I thought that was like something that I really wanted to experiment with. So I got a sheet of, I think this one is it oatmeal? Anyway, it's kind of a beige color. This one is a gray, light gray color. So yeah, so I cut them down to size as best I could, and I cut a backing board, which is just, you know, the back of an empty pad. Like Mr. E uses a lot of Bristol, so I don't have a shortage of backing boards. It's thick cardboard and it's super fine. So you cut it in the same dimensions of your block. And then I first tried with rubber cement to glue the sides. Like I glued only the long sides. I left the short sides unglued. So yeah, I used rubber cement first, and it doesn't work. So no rubber cement. So I finally caved in and got a really small glue gun. I hope. Okay, that's nicely out of frame. Good. So this tiny thing, that's a low temperature glue gun and a bunch of glue sticks, and that's what I use to bind the sides of the. So I have yet to try how it works when I want to remove a page, but as far as holding them together, it seems to be working well. In the cover, you slide notebooks in. Okay, so I have another cover here that is a newer and a different one, but I think this one shows better. Like, you have the elastic, it goes back in the back, you open the cover. So it basically comes with this elastic in it. So this is the cover. You have the elastic, the bookmark here, that is, it's still stuck in the bottom, but you have a card that's the bookmark. So it's a really straightforward item. It's basically just a leather thing. So, but then you can get inserts. That's a rubber band, and you can get either you get any kind of elastic, or you can buy the specific rubber bands for it. But you can attach notebooks together like this, and then you insert this in the elastic, or you can just insert one notebook if you want. Like, you basically customize it however you want. I've seen people put in like 3 or 4 notebooks or inserts, and like the cover gets super thick. I've seen people who only use one, so you can really do what you want with this system, which is why it's pretty great. Okay, so that's done with. The paper I used for the block is Buckingford colored paper, 140 pound cold press. It's cellulose paper. You can use any paper you want, seriously. It's just that this is a paper I wanted to experiment with, and I decided that I would choose the blocks to experiment with. Alright, so I doodled 2 scenes. This one is kind of a nighttime beach scene, and this one is a street scene from a picture of old Quebec. Not PVA glue. PVA glue will reactivate if you wet it. So it has to be this weird glue stick glue. It's really hard to make a pretty job while laying down the glue. I really need to find my silicone spatula to see if that works better, but it, like, you cannot come back and try to smooth something. It will just like create a mess, so you really gotta put down the glue and then try to do it in as few strokes as possible. I didn't get any buckling of paper when I used the glue gun on the paper. What I basically did is I had a protective sheet, just a piece of scrap printer paper that I cut to size, put on top, and I didn't have the covers on. This is what I put on last, but you just grab, I grabbed these huge clips because that's what I had, and I like put the sides that I didn't want to glue with clips, and I put the glue on this side, and then you can sort of like this will stand on its own and it will be above ground, so it was perfect for drying it. So that was great. And for this one, which since it's a bit like longer, what I did is I put the clips here as well, and I started by putting a bit of glue in the middle of the long side, and then I put a clip like to hold this together, and then I filled in the rest of the glue, and same thing on the other side. Then again, this is the first time I do this, so I have no idea if it will work. Perhaps it won't work, but the only way I can figure it out is by trying. So that's the whole point of this thing, is to try it out. I don't think bookbinding adhesive would work because it's I don't think it stands to water really well. Alright, so which one do I start? Do I start with the building or the landscape? So 1 vote for the building, 2 building, landscape, building. Building has 3, landscape has 1, 4 for building, 5, 2 for landscape. RIP. I will do the landscape after, or like I will switch from one to the other, but I just need to start somewhere. Okay, so I guess I will start with the building. I will set up my reference. Alright, I'm all set. Oh, that makes a lot of shade. Zoom in. Yeah, sure. Everybody with what's the word I'm looking for? But if you have moving sickness, is that the word? Just look away because it's gonna be the manual zoom. So I will manually move the camera forward. So there I go. Whoop. Can I? Yeah, is that? It's a bit blurry, but that's because my camera is bad. Motion sickness. Yes, thank you so much. Okay. Good zoom, thank you. Okay, so as for the tools I will be using, I've just finished one of Sherry Blaukauf's online classes, the one about landscapes. So I will be using a palette that is sort of a lot like hers, that I put together from whatever I had. And I will be using a small Raven mop quill brush. That's Fake Squirrel by Jackson's, and also a very old designer Klinsky Sable brush. I don't think they make those anymore, but yeah. I really loved the course. I learned a good many things that I didn't know because I'm self-taught, so a lot of the stuff that I know is through other classes. So I really enjoyed the class, and I enjoyed the teacher. She was really cool and really easy to follow both. But I would like to point out that this is not a class for beginners, it's an intermediate class, so she doesn't go into detail about like which brushes she picks up, or like it's not about the technical side of things as much as the painter side of things. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but that's what I would say about this class. Really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't recommend it if you are still a bit uncomfortable with the tools, because she doesn't spend time explaining stuff much. Like she will assume that you know a bit how to control the water in your brush and how to paint certain things. I forgot to put the class in the description. It's on Craftsy. Yeah, Craftsy. It was on sale recently, and it was the, I don't remember the exact title, but something like how to paint landscape in pen, ink, and watercolor. So it was a fun class, really. Okay, so right away I will switch to the landscape one because I want this to be a bit more dry before I paint the rest of the things on there, because it's gonna just merge together and be gross if I don't. So the other one. Yes, I think it was Sketching Landscape. Thank you so much for putting the link, Otto. Question, do you use art books or do you mostly learn from online? I use both. Online is perhaps easier because if you have a video class, you can see the gesture and everything that goes into making the painting, which is perhaps a bit more informative than reading about it. But that said, I have many books about painters, I have many of them I have yet to read because they are used books that I got in my book haul from last year. But yeah, I'm just trying to assert what my collection of books is. Yeah, there's a bit of everything. I really enjoy using references for paintings, mostly because it helps with figuring out which colors to use. Which is what I'm trying to do right now. So this is a bit more difficult because it's cellulose paper and not cotton paper, but I'm still trying to incorporate the stuff I learned in the class with my painting practices, I guess. So yeah, I can ramble on a bit about classes because I have thoughts about online classes and taking them. Like when I was taking, the way Craftsy works is that when you take a class, you have a lifelong access to the class, so that's pretty awesome. But also, like, you have this, so it's gonna be hard because it's super zoomed in, but you have like the frame. Say this is your computer screen. You have the video like for the main part of the screen, and on the right you have a column with questions that people ask. So it's pretty interesting to see and read the questions that people ask. But in this case it was a bit weird because it was a lot of questions from people saying like, I'm a beginner, this is my first watercolor, and I'm like, that's perfectly fine, but you're not setting yourself up for a quick understanding if you start with an intermediate class, because the teacher won't cover how to do a wash, she won't cover how to choose your brush, choose the size of your brush, and that kind of stuff. So I thought it was perhaps a bit unhelpful to start with something so big as an intermediate class when you're truly like just starting in watercolor. And there's a bit of that I find is weird, but there's also like this kind of focus put on grabbing the exact same supplies that the teacher will use, and it's not always the best way to learn. Like, I was reading in the questions and the comments on this class, and I saw a lot of people who were like, oh, I'm still collecting the supplies for this class. And even if it's a class that doesn't require many supplies, truly, she lists about 19 colors, a few brushes, a few papers. But then again, it's like she will list things, and then in the class you will see her use more tools than what is the class materials listed. So yeah, and I saw people who were like really looking forward to getting everything needed for the class, and I'm like, that's a bit extreme in my opinion, because the teacher is a professional painter in a way, even if it's not her main job. It's still something she does on a professional level. So she has brushes that cost an arm and a leg, like 50, 60, 70, $100 brushes. And it's not something first for a beginner, because when you start you don't even know which brushes you will like. Some people like the silver black velvet, some people don't. Some people like synthetic, some people prefer natural hair. Like, when you start painting, I don't think you know what you want, so you gotta try a bunch of stuff, and it's not by trying through super expensive brushes that you will learn truly what's the best way to use these, in my opinion. So I felt it was a bit hardcore as an approach for the person to be like, I need the exact same supplies. And in that regard, I felt like this is perhaps why this intermediate class is not a beginner's class. It's because the teacher of the class will not go over like basic stuff like paper, tools, brushes, supplies. And sure, if you get a super good brush from the beginning, that's always the best, but you don't need to buy a $70 mop as a beginner. That's perhaps a bit extreme, you know? So I'm not sure, perhaps that's just me, but I was a bit like shocked in a way for these people, because I'm like, sure, the class is like $25, super affordable, but you just put $400 in supplies that you don't even know you will like. So I don't really know what to make of this. Realize that the picture is really blurry. I would need a better camera for this. I can try something else. Okay, just motion sickness warning. I will manual on zoom. it was nothing. Alright, so I will manually zoom in again. Sorry about that. So it's distorted and not awesome, but I will post good pictures of these on Instagram after, so you can always check that. So I'm catching up on the chat. I see a lot of people with opinions about this stuff, which is pretty interesting. May Kristen is saying that they agree, and also as a beginner you don't appreciate the good stuff, which is something I agree. Otto is asking, what are your opinions on brushes that are sold under an artist's brand name? Okay, I will come back to this, but just want to answer Stephen's questions first. What res are you streaming at? I'm streaming at the best resolution my camera will let me. So it's not awesome, I think, is the resolution. Yeah, I can't really have OBS with my phone. I tried, but it wasn't working well. Okay, okay, so Otto's questions about brushes that are sold under an artist's brand name. Depends really on the level you approach it with, I would say. If you are a beginner and you get the expensive brushes just because it's the artist's brushes, that's not a nice marketing thing to do. I find like it's a bit taking advantage of people who don't know any better, which is not something I enjoy. But if you know a bit more what you look for in a brush and you are really following, say you're a botanical artist like Lily Shawl, and you've seen the brushes she offers and they are pretty much what you would want in a brush, then I say go for it. Like the fact that it's branded under an artist has no relevancy to what you want in the brushes, so that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is like when it's something like when you see the Jean Haynes brushes that are like super expensive, and I know that a lot of people would get those just because it's written Jean Haynes on them. That's one artist that I've seen a lot of weird stuff going on from the fan base in a way. Like if you watch Jean paint, you will see that she used like broad strokes, big brushes, juicy application, and like really the way she uses the tools. And when I see people who try to paint in her style, more often than not they will use like small finicky brushes, and it will be about like emulating the style more than the process, which I think is a bit special. Because it's somewhat easy to replicate like the look of a thing if you copy it from something you've seen, but understanding the process will allow you to make more personal pieces and to infuse them with your uniqueness. I'm rambling a lot. I hope this is not coming across as something unsightly like elitism or whatnot. But this is really not my intent, but it's just the things that I noticed, and what is important to me is understanding the process more than copying something. So okay, catching up on chat. Rhiannon is saying it's sad some people think they have tools that all needed practice most important. Yes, practice is the most important, and the tools, like good tools are great, but you don't need, like I can paint just as fine with this fake scroll brush from Jackson's that costs a fraction of a real scroll one. So yeah, like I couldn't paint this kind of application with a tack-on brush because it doesn't hold water. But that's the thing, if you understand like I need a brush which holds water, then if you know what types of brushes will do that, then you can make a better informed selection rather than just knowing that, say, it's squirrel, but why is it important that it's squirrel? What's the characteristic of a squirrel brush when compared to something else? So it's really about, like, it's one part knowing what your supplies are supposed to do, and then experimenting with stuff to understand how it works. Dan is saying also, when it comes to Billy brushes, they are made by Raphael, so a good brush company. Yeah, that too. I have Billy Showell's brushes, and I don't even do botanical painting, but I love that it came with a scrubbing brush, like a lifting brush, and they are great Kolinsky brushes by Raphael. So I knew that even if I don't paint botanical, they would still be the kind of brushes that I could use. Oh, thanks for the link about Jean Haines' work, Otto. Yeah, that's a good point. If you want to look at art instruction books, you can always go to the library. I don't tend to do so, but I used, like, when I lived in the same city as my parents, I would, like, the library was within walking distance, so I would always be over there. And I read many books. Not necessarily art books back then, but still it was much, much easier to have access to these books when I lived there. Now it's a bit more tricky, like the good library is somewhat far, and I'm not a fan of spending forever commuting. It's not awesome. Commuting in Montreal, not great. But yeah, you really need to find what works for you, and it's why I have perhaps a bit of a problem with classes. Not with everything in classes. Classes are awesome and you can learn a bunch of stuff, but it's just the approach that I find a bit weird. Like, I'm mostly self-taught. I've really never been to a watercolor class, and I only started drawing classes when I was in graphic design and then animation in school, so it wasn't my initial approach. Like, I started drawing before that. And the good thing with classes, in my opinion, is that you get to see firsthand how the teacher or whatever is, how they work, what's the move they're doing, how they handle stuff, and you get some one-on-one feedback, which is pretty awesome. But at the same time, they remove the part of the process that is about choosing your own tools. And I can see why it's a good thing in the beginning, but I don't like the way I've seen it done most times. Like, for example, my mom took a watercolor class at some point, a long time ago, and the teacher had them buy like a full palette with all the colors and a bunch of brushes and a bunch of papers, and then they would do things like still life, like the really cheesy kind of still life with like an orange pumpkin and a scarecrow doll, and you're like, ugh. And it's just, I feel like it's a bit too much stuff for the first approach. If I was to give a beginner's class, I would say buy 3 colors, buy 2 brushes, and buy this paper, and that's it. So you get the bare minimum so that people can remove the distraction of having like 12 colors, remove the distraction of a bunch of stuff, and just focus on learning the super basic stuff. But that's just me. Oh, bye Genevieve! Thank you for stopping by. I'm rambling a lot, I am sorry. yeah, if anybody wants to paint along, you can do so. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, Paulo, or if you're talking about the orange pumpkin and scarecrow scene. That's the thing. Drad is saying, but where to find beginners who are content with only 3 colors? I've had one class that I took by Nathan Fawkes on schoolism that had a really fun approach to that. In the class you start, you have a full palette of like, I don't remember, but it's something like 12 to 18 colors. I don't remember exactly, but you know, a good amount of colors. But when you start the class, the first thing he has you do is you paint in black and white. You have white gouache, you have black watercolor, you do a couple of classes with only these 2. And then you keep these 2, and he would have classes where you have only like 6 of the colors, like a red, a yellow, a green, a blue, a brown, and I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but you know, he would incrementally add colors to what you can use. So I think that's perhaps how I would approach it, because if beginners are like, this is not enough colors, you give them a more complete palette, but you start with only a few colors. And you have them work with these few colors a bit in the beginning. And then when people get a bit more comfortable with these, then you add a few more, and then you add a few more, and you incrementally add all the colors. Oh, thank you for the link to Nathan's course. It's a really nice class. It's really focusing on how to use watercolors more like gouache by using them fresh from the tube and also with white gouache. Like, I remember the class my mom took, because she ended up giving me all her stuff from the class because she decided that she prefers oil painting, even if she doesn't really paint right now. But yeah, and like, as much as I love opera and colors like lavender, she had those on her beginner palette, and I was like, these are not colors that are super useful for a beginner, in my opinion. As much as I like them, they kind of take you away from learning how to mix colors, which I think should perhaps be the focus of the first few classes, like being able to mix colors in a way that is appealing, and you know, not have any weird clumps of colors. And like, there's a lot of stuff to learn, and even if I've been painting for a while, I'm still struggling with these things more often than not, so I don't feel like it's reaching to focus on that first. I think it can be quite useful. Catching up on chat. So Paul is saying that they don't exactly agree with me. Many classes aren't watercolor 101 classes. It's more of teaching you how that specific artist does thing and achieve his results. Sure, but then that gives room to situation where someone who is not familiar with the tools will ask questions that, how can I say this? Trying to find a way to say this with English words. Okay, so as an example, Sherry's classes, the class I took, the one on landscapes, she starts by showing how to paint lovely skies, like neutral skies, like stormy skies and all of that. But like, a lot of people were struggling with the way their skies looked because they were using cellulose paper instead of cotton paper. And the way cellulose works, especially like Canson XL, which is kind of the cheapest cellulose paper available, and they were getting like blotches or patches or cauliflowers blooming and all that, and they were like, why is this happening? And even if it's about teaching the way Sherry does skies, the fact that they didn't know that their paper was problematic didn't help them. So I feel it's kind of a you have to go through enough watercolors 101 classes to be able to make the best of the more specific classes that teachers will give. But anyway, that's just me. I mean, you are absolutely, it's absolutely fine if you disagree with the way I see this. I guess that the way my brain sort of makes sense of all of this is that I see these people like struggling, and I understand the struggle because I'm self-taught. So in many things, like there are things that I realized later that I was like, that's why I've been having so many issues with this. If only I had known better. And often knowing better means spending more time learning the basic stuff. So I don't know if the problem is that there aren't enough like classes about the basic stuff. That maybe that's just that. But yeah, it's like, it's a bit sad to see people being turned away from painting because they're like, this is too hard, this is like, it doesn't give the results I want. And you're like, well, it's not giving the results you want because of things that you could easily fix, like paper, type of paints, or you know, just a basic 101 class. Anyway, that's just question. Would you be interested in teaching a watercolor 101 class? I am not sure what I'm worth in terms of teaching. I will happily try to explain the way my brain works and what I personally think is a nice way to go about it, but you gotta keep in mind that it's just me, the way I work. So yeah, that's just like, I can give you tips, but I don't feel like I am, first of all, I don't think I'm at a good enough level to be able to teach. I can give some kind of advice, but then again, like, as we can see in the chat, advice will vary a lot depending on the people. So uh-oh, are we going to get into a primary huff again? I hope not. I really hope not. Oh, awesome. Great, Palm, we're saying the same thing. Cool. Hi, Chini. Oh, bye, Polar Bear. Like, if someone feels that they need like 20 colors to learn how to paint, well, get 20 colors and have fun using them. That's all there is to it. It's not a super complex issue. But like, if you're trying to get results like Jean Haynes and it's not working, and you are using like super thin brushes and fiddling a lot with your colors, maybe that's why it's not working. Banned topics, food and primary colors. Religion also. Religion is a banned topic. I really don't want to start talking about religion in this chat. Ugh. And politics to some extent, like saying that Trump has done something foolish again when it's actually a fact doesn't really bother me, but I don't want to get into super precise politics. Blah. Okay, so what about, say you're still a beginner, okay, and you really don't want to stick to limited palettes and limited tools. Well, what about carving time in your learning practice where you only focus on a few tools? Okay, say you decide to get all the colors you like. You get say, okay, I will use myself as an example perhaps because that's the easiest, but I'm in front of the huge Daniel Smith display at the local shop, and I'm like, whoa, I want a lot of paint because they're all so pretty. So I'm for sure gonna get cobalt teal because I love this color. And like when I first went back and bought paint, I've never bought paints just for the sake of choosing colors. At first, I always had a direction. So I bought like Theo Yichi's colors, I bought another artist's colors, and like, I mean, get all the colors you like, but make sure you have a magenta, a cyan, and a yellow. And when you paint, you can use all the colors you want, but make sure you have a bit of time perhaps that you focus on mixing colors, not necessarily just with the primary, even if the primary triad is a good way to learn about the super basic stuff. But yeah, that's just like the approach you have. Like if you look like at artist palettes, they have all sorts of colors in there, but they always have there's always a basic of a primary in there. Something that will act as a red, something, well, magenta, something that will act as a yellow, and something that will act as a cyan. Congrats on scoring a surprise full sheet of watercolor paper, Chini. It's like finding a $20 bill in the pockets of a coat you had stored away for the winter. It's like, hey, thanks, pass me. Oh. Okay, so Otto is saying that they first bought all the colors that called to them. That's a really nice approach as well. I think this is really a complex topic. Otto's approach is a bit more abstract than mine, if I can say that. So if your approach is a bit more in the abstract range, perhaps you can really go and just buy whichever colors you want. But I come from a really illustrator background, so it's perhaps a bit more complex to figure out which colors you need for every situation you will come across. Like, well, in some situation I will have to draw characters, and others I will have to draw plants, and others I will have to draw buildings. So what's the colors that I can get that will give me that? And like by starting with a palette like Theo Yichi's, I found out that you can have burnt sienna and ultramarine and mixed grays with that, and I was like, that's awesome, that's super useful. So I don't know, perhaps it's just a really personal thing, and me rambling so much about it is pointless. Oh yeah, and I see the chat, and I wanted to also commend Otto and saying that it's pretty awesome that she decided to just go F this and work in her style, like flip the table and be like, you know what, I'm tired of trying to be something that perhaps is not me, so I will all of that and just try to do myself. And it's a much harder thing to do than it would seem, but it's also a much more rewarding thing. Question, and sorry if you mentioned it already, but what is that orange-red color you're using? And which one? Is it in the palette? Okay, I can perhaps do a quick rundown of the colors in the palette. Is this on frame? Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so Naples Yellow, that I haven't used. Gamboge, not used either. This is Azo Yellow from Daniel Smith. This one is from Sennelier. It's pan number 641. Sorry, I don't remember. It's something like Sennelier Orange. And this is Organic Vermilion from Daniel Smith. This is Permanent Alizarin Crimson, again from Daniel Smith. Cobalt Teal, Daniel Smith. Cerulean Blue Hue, Daniel Smith. Cobalt Blue, Daniel Smith. Ultramarine Blue, perhaps the French one. Anyway, it's a Sennelier color. It's band 314. This is Indigo by Daniel Smith. And then Throne Blue, Daniel Smith again. They will all be Daniel Smith. Carbazole Violet, Sap Green, the Rich Green Gold, the single pigment one. This is Raw Sienna, Burnt Sienna, and Queen Gold, the new formula. So, yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Otto. Oh, it was a mix of colors for the door. It's a bit of the Organic Vermilion, the Permanent Alizarin Crimson, and Burnt Sienna. It's helped a lot by the fact that the whole paper is colored. It unifies everything. Ooh, this is so distorted. You guys won't believe it's the same pictures I painted when you see the pictures on Instagram. But you know, that's the thing about the classes. Like, I'm lucky enough that I have a good selection of colors to paint from. But sometimes I see colors listed and I'm like, let me find a good example. Okay, so this color, the Azo Yellow I'm using from Daniel Smith, is technically not the color that the artist uses, but I'm like, this is gonna work anyway for my purposes. It's a yellow, it's close enough, you know. So that's perhaps what I feel is a bit bummer when I see people really focusing on getting specific supplies, is that perhaps they have something that would work just as well in their stock already, and they're not in a position where they can't see that and say, oh, well, I don't need to buy new paint, I can just use this one. Like the Sennelier orange I'm using is, I didn't have that color in the range the teacher was mentioning, but I had the same pigment in Sennelier, so I was like, it's gonna work anyway, right? So it's just that kind of stuff. Anyway, anything that will get people to paint and enjoy it is awesome, in my opinion. So, there. Oh, thank you so much for the link, Otto. Yeah, I know that because I am not a beginner, but that's the kind of thing that I don't often see mentioned in online classes, that I wish was perhaps a bit more put forward, so that people who start, they don't get overwhelmed in this like avalanche of supplies. Like, I bought literally 3 pans of the same phthalo green when I started because I didn't know, and I was like, this was a truly avoidable mistake. So as much as I am not a great big fan of ultramarine blue, this one I have from Sennelier is actually quite nice to use, and it re-wets much better than my Daniel Smith one. So good job, Sennelier, I guess is my point. Otto's saying that she's totally done that too. I think most of us must have at some point. I cannot believe that with the range of colors available and the fact that they all have different names. I totally painted over the line. Oh well. Too bad. Grace is saying that their silly beginner mistake was buying phthalo green yellow shade instead of blue shade. They still have the tube and use it, and maybe we'll switch over eventually. Well, at least phthalo green yellow shade is still a useful color. I gotta say, the thing I love the most about the craftsy classes, except the fact that I really enjoy the class itself, but I mean the platform, is that the classes are really affordable. I don't have a great income at the moment, and I was really excited to see that I could have the class. It was on sale, but it was $25, and I was like almost sad that it was not pricier, because I'm like, do they make money from this? If so, how? But I mean, that's a really nice price to get a class. It's not 1 billion hours, perhaps it's like 2 hours of class. It's not super long, but that's still a nice price for a class that you can watch for life. So I'm really looking forward to trying more of the classes, perhaps. Question: can you do a review on Mid-Yellow, Mission Gold, or pure pigment sets? I have a couple of tubes of Mid-Yellow paint. I have a couple of pans also that were sent to me by Ame. I haven't gotten around to reviewing them yet. I did a small review of the Mid-Yellow paints, I think. Lena says, how can I know what phthalo blue is yellow or red shade? Because Schmincke doesn't name it that way. I only have the pigment number. If it's PB15-3, I think it's the yellow shade. And PB15:6 is the red shade, I think. If there is no colon something after that, you can mix it with yellow or magenta. If you get a super bright purple violet color, it's gonna be the red shade. Or if you mix it with yellow and you get a super nice green color, it's gonna be the yellow shade. Cyan, I know what you mean. I did like a bit of tidying of my shelf of like paper and unused sketchbooks, like my stash, and I really I was like, oh, that's, girl, you need to paint more is what needs to happen, because that's a lot of supplies you're not using. Schmincke's phthalo green just says, well, that's nice, because PG7 is blue shade and PG36 is yellow shade. That's a different pigment for the phthalo greens, but for the phthalo blues, it's just oddly enough like the same pigment, but with a different number after the column. Question: what is PB15-1? That's definitely one of the phthalo blues, though I'm not sure which. You can try mixing it though. If you have a magenta or a neutral yellow nearby, you can mix it with both and see what kind of results you get. Otto, what is PB15:6? Oh, I have an idea. Alright, so oh bummer, I don't have PB15:1 from Schminke. I only have their Helio Cerulean one. And the Phthalus of Fire something and Helio Blue Reddish, which is a mix, oddly enough. Helio Turquoise is really nice. Oh well. So Avery, oh hi Avery, by the way, said I'm painting a purple rose in gouache. What is everyone else doing? And I love that Victoria Nielsen is saying abstract, but I painted a derpy cat earlier. All cats are derpy, aren't they? This is the worst silhouettes I've drawn ever, I think. They look really stupid. Which is why I'm gonna paint them all dark. Oh, Cyan is wood burning a lily. Huh. Alright, so I think I am mostly done with these. Sorry, I bumped into the camera with my brush. Feels mostly dry, so leaves. I think the meaning of derpy would be something like silly. Oh, I have a fan on. I'm sorry about the background noise, but it's really hot. It's the fan, I'm sorry. Is it really that annoying? Because no one mentioned it before. Alright, so I used this thing from Holbein, which is designed and made to remove sheets from blocks. Well, so far that was easy. Oh, okay. Seems to be working fairly well. Like, you can see that there's a bit of glue here. I don't know if it registers enough on camera. But yeah, there is like leftover glue, but the sheet was removed without any issues. It's still a bit sticky on the sides, but I think it might be from when I tried to do this block with rubber cement. In any case, it sounds like a stream. Oh, awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Tsikabu. Palm asks, how do you like the Raven brush? I like it a lot. Okay, so yeah, Raven brushes, this one that I've used the most is the smallest one. It's a 10-0 size. It's quite, you know, it's bigger still than my size 6 brush. So yeah, mop sizes are makes no sense. But I like it a lot. It's springier than real squirrel, which is why I like it so much. And I could have used an Ultimo brush, I guess it's somewhat similar, but since Shari uses a squirrel mop in her videos, I was inspired to take my mop brushes. I'm using a rubber cement pickup tool to remove the sticky thing on the sides of the sheet, which is probably leftover rubber cement. So, yeah. So it's smooth. That one is not too sticky. Is it softer than the Ultimo? Oops, sorry. The camera is really low. Okay, so Ultimo size 6. Just with it just a bit. So it's not exactly the same shape for the hairs. Like, since this one is a mop, the base is wider than you would have with the ferrule. So if I bend these, they snap. If I bend these, they snap too. Yeah, I don't really know. I love them both. Yeah, the green thing is... oh, it's on Amazon. I will have to check it out, but it's kind of a leaf-shaped thing that Holbein made. It's written block leaf on it, and it's really designed to split sheets from blocks. A bit of glue left from the cover sheet, because this is the first sheet of the block. The brushes are so soft. So that's one, and I will see about the other one, because like I said, with these sheets I tried to make it into a block with rubber cement first, and it didn't really work out, so the sides of the sheets were all a bit tacky, but I don't know if it's from the glue gun or just from the rubber cement. So bleep, this one. Oh, this pad was on it was on my wet paper, so you can see that can you see? Like, this here is all moist and weird. Oops. Oh, the leaf thing is sorry, if it's $30, that's really expensive for what it is. That's not the price I paid for it, I'm pretty sure. I didn't buy it on Amazon though. I got it from Rakuten, which is not perhaps the best place to buy things, but when I saw these and with how much I love Holbein, I was like, I need these. And I was also really struggling to remove sheets from blocks, so yeah. The only downside I've seen so far with the glue is that it tends to leave a residue on the tool. But as far as holding up and being removable, there's a bit of glue left, but you would have that on a regular block as well. Should I zoom out a bit? Yeah, I appreciate that Otto found the link to the thing so that you can see the description and what it is. And after that, yeah, you can do what I usually do is when I find what the thing I saw is, then I start researching the best place to buy it. Which is why I end up on some pretty odd shops sometimes. It's just made of plastic, I think. Question, if I were to send you a Magello set, would you do a review on it? Of course. That would be incredibly generous and a bit since I have a PO box now, I can't really say no to these things. Like if I receive something in my PO box, I will do a review on it, of course. It's made from polycarbonate with a leather strap, yeah. Leather strap here, whoop whoop, and leaf. I mean, okay, it's me, and I was like, of course it's gonna look like something cute. It's not gonna be just like a bland piece of paper. Plastic in this case. Of course it's gonna be something like pleasant to look at, and that's what really made me happy about this one. So, okay, I will zoom out a bit. So, first sketch, second sketch. You can perhaps see a bit better. Oh, that's a cat hair. Okay, shoot. Okay, so this one, the sides of the sheet are not as tacky as the other paper was, so I'm guessing it's only the rubber cement residue on the other pad. But yeah, you can see a bit the hue of the papers here. And if I can find something white to put next to them. So yeah, so this one is like white or a tiny bit of white. This is the gray paper and this is the cream perhaps, or oatmeal color. It's pretty fun. Like colored paper, I love it so far. And it's cellulose paper, but it's a nice cellulose one. I didn't have any problems with the paints on this. You only have to be a bit more careful because it doesn't absorb paint the same way cotton paper would, but if you pay attention to your paper, you're gonna be fine. Oh, bye Cyan! Thank you so much for being there. So, yeah, well my my sketches are done. So, unless you have more questions, I'm guessing that this one is mostly over. Like the goal was really to showcase all the new postcards I got, which were awesome, and also to try these blocks of these handmade blocks of watercolor paper to see how the block works, but also to test the colored papers. I have painted a few things on this one that you may have seen, like there was a supernatural drawing, and oh, I don't think I've shown the other one, but it will be on Instagram shortly. And because I had these sheets pre-cut and I wanted to try it, but I'm really glad I was able to finally assemble this one into a block. Yeah, Otto's saying Buckingford has the tinted papers in cream, grey, eggshell, blue, and oatmeal. I'm pretty sure this one is grey. I don't remember what I got for this one. I know that Jackson sells the paper, but it's perhaps not super convenient if you are not in the UK. If you are in Canada, Desserres, Desserres, the local chain, Desserres, has these Buckingford papers. And seriously, the way Desserres ships paper is top notch. Really awesome way. It's nicely wrapped, it's sandwiched between two boxes that have been flattened, and I've ordered paper from them more than once and it's always gotten here in pristine shape. Oh wow, Avery, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure how to set this up. I know that people like Carria use their Amazon wish list as a way to easily make it available for her subs to buy her stuff. But since I'm in Canada, unless you use Amazon Canada, it's problematic. Oh, that's interesting, Palm. So Palm is saying, I have it in spiral bound and use it as decently priced sketchbook. It handles pretty nicely for this use, more so than other proper sketchbooks they've tried. Huh. Well, Otto, you can put your own affiliate link, that's okay. These things, they come around. Oh, hi, Miss Similiano. Yeah, the leaf. There. Alright, so that's it for me today, I believe. I think I will shut everything down, mostly because it's getting pretty warm in the office. Summer. I can't wait for you to be over. So yeah. Okay, so quick recap. We tested these handmade blocks from colored Buckingford paper. Showed the postcards and talked a lot about classes. And I mentioned Sherry Vlokoff's lessons that I would encourage you to take if you want to see her technique for painting landscapes. And I haven't taken the class on like cities and stuff, but I want to take it when it comes back on sale again. So yeah, and what else? I guess that's about it. If you have any questions or whatnot, you can leave them in the comments below. PO box comments is in the description if you want to send in postcards or fan mail or anything. I used no, not this one. I used a Raven brush by Jackson's in size 10-0, the smallest one, and an old brush that is a Kolinsky Sybil size 6, but I don't think they make these anymore. This was a hand-me-down brush, so yeah. So thanks everyone for being there. Big thanks to Otto and Grace for being the awesome moderators. And thank you so much for the discussion and keeping me company while I was sketching. And I really hope you have a nice weekend. And we will see each other quite soon. Bye bye. Oh, how long will the PO box be open? I think I must be at least a month in. I took 3 months first. I will see if I renew it after that, but there's at least 2 months still left of PO box being open. And cat hairs. Alright. Well, Avery, send me a message or email me. You can go to my about page on YouTube and there's my email address. Well, it's boltsvolt together, no space, no anything, at gmail.com. So you can write an email to me and we can talk about this. Bye guys.